If you're a regular viewer, you'll know that we've just got back from a family holiday to Florida, and I have to say that that holiday was a real eye-opener for me in terms of realizing just how big a family I have. And I know that sounds really daft because obviously we've been a family of 6 for 2.5 years, so this isn't new information to me, but for some reason being on holiday and being removed from our everyday normal life and routine, it just magnified things for me, and I was just very aware that we were a big family and people could probably hear us coming several miles away. And also my mum came on holiday with us for the first time ever as a family, so it was the 6 of us plus my mum, and that was lovely. And obviously I haven't been away with my mum for years, so it was a really nice thing to do with her and to be able to have that experience and those memories. However, my mum grew up as an only child, and when she had children herself, she had my sister, and then there was a 15-year gap, and then I came along. So my sister and I were pretty much only children really for the majority of our childhood, so she's not used to that level of chaos and noise, apart from when she pops over to visit us, which is quite considerably different to going on holiday for 2 weeks. It got me thinking about the pros and cons of having a large family, having 4 kids, and I just thought it might make an interesting video for you guys, whether you've got a big family or not, or it's something you would like or would think of having more kids in the future and it's just something you're interested in. I know when I was pregnant with my 3rd and 4th, or thinking about having a 4th maybe, I watched lots of videos of larger families just because I was really interested to hear what it's like for other people. If you've just stumbled across this video and you're not a subscriber already, then hi, I'm Kate. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, ranging in age from 2 to 13. And I make videos on here about my experience as a mum, but also about things that I enjoy, like food and fashion occasionally, and just my favourite things in general, as well as everyday vlogs of our family life. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then do hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you. So today I'm going to share with you some of the pros and cons in my experience. I'm sure there are probably lots more that I'm not going to talk about today, so perhaps there'll be another video in the future, but just some of the things that sprung to mind to me and some of the things that became really obvious when we were on holiday. And that's aside from the everyday obvious things like my washing machine is never off, you can probably hear it in the background, and the house is never tidy. But if you've got 1 child, that's the case, so there you go. It doesn't really change a great deal when you've got more than 1. So I'm going to start with something that's more challenging and something that I found more difficult as I've had more children. It's quite an obvious one, but it's meeting everybody's needs. Obviously my children, there's quite a big range of ages, so my youngest is 2.5 and my eldest has just turned 13. And they're into very different things, and a day out for the whole family is not as straightforward as it was when I only had 2, and they were very similar in age. So I'm lucky in that my eldest 2 aren't at the stage yet, or I don't think they're, I don't know, I feel like they will always be willing to go along with what we're doing for the sake of the younger ones. They're quite tolerant as far as that goes. I don't get many strops from them saying, well, I don't want to do that because it's too babyish or too young for me. They don't seem to think that way. They seem to be very accepting that sometimes we'll have to do things that are for the benefit of the younger ones. I'm not sure they would tolerate sitting in soft play for 2.5 hours on a Saturday morning, unless they had their phones, in which case they'd be fine. However, I want to be fair as well, and I wouldn't want to drag them to soft play when they'd rather be doing something else on a Saturday. So sometimes I'm very aware that the things I might want to do with the little ones might not appeal to the older ones, and vice versa. And along with that comes the fact that sometimes I can't do things with the older ones because of the little ones. So I might want to take them to see a film in the cinema that's not suitable for my 6 and 2-year-old, or my 2-year-old just won't sit through it, and we can't go to the cinema to see even something that is suitable for younger ones because she wants to get up and run riot around the cinema. So sometimes there are things that we could do as a family that we can't because of the littlest ones, and that will pass as Marnie gets older, but it is definitely something that I find more challenging. On the flip side to that, and one of the best things about having a large family, is watching their relationships. And I've talked about this before on Instagram and on my channel, but I get so much happiness from seeing them together when they're not fighting, which is another con. I could sit and watch them chat and share jokes and watch things together and play together and help each other all day, and it would bring me so much happiness just to sit and see them together. They are all very close. Of course, they fight and they squabble and they bicker, and it drives me up the wall. However, they are just so close, and I know they will always have each other. So I mentioned the squabbles, and I know I've definitely talked about that on here before, about motherhood challenges and things that I can tolerate and things that I can't, and bickering amongst the kids is the one thing that is guaranteed to tip me over the edge. I might be having a great day, and then they will come home from school and something will set them off, and they'll just be at each other, and it just turns my day on its head. All of a sudden I'm really stressed and I can't hear myself think, and I just want to scream into a pillow, and that is something that I do find really difficult. And obviously the more kids you have, the more likelihood there is that they're gonna squabble. So if anyone has any miraculous ways to stop siblings from bickering, let me know in the comments, because so far I just tend to separate them into opposite corners of the house and hope for the best, but even that doesn't work sometimes. So all advice gratefully received. Another one that actually has a good and a bad side to it, but I'll start with the good, is that the older ones help, and they really do, especially, I was going to say especially my elder daughter, but that's not fair because Dylan is really helpful in his own way as well. He's my 13-year-old, and Merrin, my daughter, is 11, nearly 12, and I honestly don't know how I would function without her. She's so helpful. She wants to help. She is amazing with her baby sister, and yeah, she's an absolute superstar. She helps me out in so many ways, not just fetching things or watching the baby, but just, I don't know, she just gets it. She just can tell if I'm stressed, and she'll, without being asked, she'll just step in and try and help me in some way. She's amazing. But the reverse of that, and the bad side about that, is I always try to be aware not to put on her too much, or not to rely on her too much, or expect her to do things, because that's not fair. She's only 11, and as much as she wants to help, I also don't want her to feel obliged and feel like she has to, or it's her job, because it's not. But she also gets a lot of pleasure from helping me, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. I don't want to put on her, but I will gladly accept the help wherever she's willing to give it. So it's just a case of me being aware that I'm not relying on her too much or asking her to do things when I should probably just do them myself. So the next thing I wanted to mention, and I'm not sure this would apply in all families, but certainly I noticed it with our third baby. So my little boy Aiden, he's 6 now, and I feel like because he had an older brother and an older sister, and they were quite a bit older than him, to me, it felt like he grew up a lot quicker. He seemed to bypass the toddler stage almost, and he wasn't into anything that his brother and sister had been into before him. Like, he didn't like Peppa Pig, not that that's a necessity, but he kind of skipped that bit in the middle and went from baby to little boy really, really quickly. He wanted to be so much like his big brother, who is 7 years older than him. Sorry, I had to work that out. That's another thing that comes with lots of kids, is permanent baby brain. He so looked up to his big brother. He wanted to be into the same things. So when Dylan was into, the one that springs to mind is Plants vs Zombies, which is a game on the PS4, which Aiden was way too young for at the age of 3. And Aiden just wanted to watch Dylan playing it, and he wanted to have a go, and he was really into Plants vs Zombies. So I'm sure that does happen a lot. It wasn't something that I thought about much beforehand, but it's something that now with Marnie, I'm trying to be really conscious to enjoy and encourage the age appropriate things that she's into. She loves Peppa Pig and she loves Hey Dougie, and I just want to make sure that she doesn't rush ahead. Obviously she'll have her own ideas of what she wants to play with and what kind of things she likes, and I'm not going to try and sway that, but also I'm just going to be aware of her not wanting to grow up too quick. But the positive side of that, and something that I love about having 4 children that range in age so much, is that the littlest ones really learn from the older ones. So when it comes to things like potty training and starting school and weaning and all that kind of thing, they want to be like their big brother and sister. So they want to use a knife and fork, and they want to eat that kind of food, apart from vegetables, and they want to not be wearing nappies and all that kind of thing. So I've found, certainly with Aiden, and I'm so far with Marnie, and I would imagine as she gets that little bit older, those things will be easier because the older ones have blazed a trail for the younger ones following behind them. So the final thing I wanted to mention that's definitely more difficult with a larger family is the expense. It costs an absolute small fortune to go anywhere, a trip to the cinema. Having said that, our cinema has just reduced their prices by half, which is amazing. I'm not sure why, but I'm on board with it because it was getting silly. At one point it was costing us 50, 60 pounds if we bought drinks and things just to go to the cinema, which is madness. But yeah, going anywhere for a day out or on holiday is a lot more expensive. So it's quite an obvious one, but it is something that affects our day-to-day life and the things that we do as a family, because going out for a meal, although we do it, it perhaps isn't as frequent as it might be if there were only 4 of us. And back to school and birthdays and things like that, obviously the costs do add up. But the biggest thing for me and the biggest pro of having lots of kids in the house is that their joy and their energy is so infectious, and it rubs off on me. Their moods and their bickering also is infectious. But for the most part, their laughter and their enthusiasm for things has a massive effect on my mood, and I feel my spirits lifted just from having them around. So for all the challenges, the pros by far outweigh them in my experience and in my opinion. So for what it's worth, that was my thoughts on the pros and cons of having a big family. Obviously, we're not a massive family, there's only 6 of us, but I certainly, yeah, being on holiday this time, I was aware that we were quite a handful. So I would love to hear from you guys, whether you have a big family or not, or whether you grew up as part of a big family. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I would love to have you stick around. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.